All right. Good afternoon. Hello, Yasmin. Hello, Professor Picard. My name is Ashley
Hello.
Bethel. I'm the Director of Undergraduate Admission here at New England College. Today, I am joined by Professor Alex Picard, one of our associate professors. Yes?
Full professor.
Full professors, pardon me. There you go.
I'm
In
very
our
fancy
theater
now.
department. And also a class of, if you want to share.
97.
Class of 97 alum from New England College.
Thanks for bringing that up.
She's here today to talk about our theater program as well as our brand new, as of this past January, Putnam Center for Performing Arts. So hello, Alex, welcome, and thank you.
Thank you.
So I have a few kind of just basic questions that I like to lobby at our faculty with love and care so they can, talk about themselves and their program and anything else they want to share about the NEC community.
Things to talk about.
So I've probably given away some of your secrets already, but if you want to talk a bit about your background and how you ended up at NEC, both as a student and as a faculty member, I think we'd all love to hear it.
Ooh, good story. So I actually, I grew up in the Boston area. I'm from Mass. So I still can't believe I live in New Hampshire some days. I kept my Mass phone number, just so you know, my area code is still 617. I grew up in that area. I ended up at NEC because my uncle went there and he talked it up. I actually ended my first year of college. I was at a different school. I transferred to NEC my sophomore year. Smartest move I ever made. And it was a really easy transfer process, which was great. And so I ended up at NEC. I was an elementary ed major. I have never taught elementary school a day in my life. But there it is. I have a degree in it. But I was really heavily involved in the theater department because you don't have to be a major or a minor to be a part of the theater department. So I just auditioned whenever they would let me, and I would participate in any way that I could. And I loved the theater department. I loved everything it stood for. I had a ton of fun and I learned a lot. And when I started to get ready to graduate, I was, emailing out my resumes. I wasn't emailing anything. It was 1997. I was mailing out my resumes, carrier pigeoning that stuff out to the world, right? So that's what I was doing. There wasn't no emailing whatsoever. And one of my professors at the time, Catherine, who was sort of the me here when I was a student, told me I should go to this cattle call audition for grad school. And I thought it was hysterical. And I was like, oh, that sounds like fun. Why don't we try that? And so she helped me polish a couple of audition pieces. And I went to this huge cattle call audition, thousands upon thousands of actors in the middle of New York City. And you do your pieces in front of two people. And then those two people decide if you go to the next round. So I made it to the next round. And then when you make it to the second round, you do your pieces again in front of a room full of professors from graduate programs, huge universities across the country. And I did those pieces. And then that night you go to you get a schedule with a bunch of interviews and you interview any places that are interested in you. And so I went to a couple of interviews. And I ended up getting my MFA in acting at the University of Illinois in Urbana-Champaign, out in the corn. Just us in the corn. That's really all it was out there. And it was a phenomenal program in a beautiful facility. And I spent 3 years there, which was awesome. They also paid for it, which was also awesome. It's always good. And then I came back to the Boston area because I loved the Boston area. And I think it's important to work where you love to live. Because if you don't love living in a place, it's much harder to do anything. So I came back to the Boston area, and then I taught, I actually was called in one day to substitute teach for someone that left, and I ended up taking his job and working there for 3 years. So I ran the theater program at that high school for 3 years. And then I taught at the Cambridge Region Latin School in Boston for another 3 years. And while I was doing that, and I think this speaks to theater generally, just to be ready to do anything, because I saw an ad for a stage manager position. Did I technically have any business applying for a stage manager position? No. Was I organized? Yes. Did I understand theater? Yes. Did I know the job of a stage manager? Yes. So I was bold and I did it. So I stage managed that company. It was a brand new company in Boston. I stage managed their first show. Their second show of the season, their lead actress dropped out. They asked me if I could act. I said, well, yes, I can. And I took the lead in that role. And by the third show, I was their managing director, and I ran that company in Boston with 2 other women for 5 years. And so, you know, just say yes to whatever, carry the coffee, deliver the coffee, do whatever, get your foot in the door. It will lead to good things. And then while I was doing all of that, I used to come up to NEC for alumni weekends, and I would say, you know, I would joke at Wally, who was one of the professors here at the time. And I said, you know, let me know when you retire, Wally, I'll take your job. Ha, ha, ha. Well, Wally didn't retire, but somebody else left, so I took her job. And I ended up back here, and I didn't ever think in a million years that I would be teaching at NEC, never, ever, ever, ever. But I am beginning my 12th year teaching here, so this is where my life is now, and I love it because I'm teaching with the man who taught me theater, and that's a really unique thing. Nobody gets that, you know, and that's a beautiful collaboration. And I'm able to give back a lot to what this college gave me, which means a lot to me as well. So that is the random story of how I ended up here.
I love that story. I knew bits and pieces, but not the whole thing. So
oh, it's a good one. I left out all the good details.
So you actually mentioned that, like, as a theater major and as somebody in theater, you kind of have to be prepared to do everything, which leads in really well to my next question, which is what type of career opportunities are there for somebody who has a major in theater or is interested in theater? Like, what do you do with that?
So I love that question because I don't think that people know how many jobs in the theater there are. I think generally people see theater and they think actor, tech, and those are the 2 things that you do. And I think that's just utterly untrue. There are so many jobs in the theater that need good, solid, trained people. The nice thing about the NEC theater program is that we're a generalist program, right? So you have to learn parts and pieces of all the elements of theater, right? You've got to take a class in directing and in tech and in acting, and all the techies have to take the acting course and all the actors have to take the tech course. And that's built by design on purpose. We do that with purpose because you are a better theater practitioner if you understand what everybody else's job is. Right? I am a better actor because I understand how light design works, so I know how to find my light, right? I am a better director because I understand the actor's position on stage, and so I have empathy for that actor and I can work with them more effectively, right? Our technicians are better technicians because they know how hard it is to do the job of an actor, right? Our actors are more respectful to technicians because they understand how hard that job is, right? So this generalist degree is really important. I think it's also really great because when you're leaving college and you're going to look for a job, you've got a skill set that's much wider, right? You've got a set of skills and a set of understanding that is wider than the average theater major, right? So you can go out when they say, hey, by the way, can you help with this? Yeah, I've done that before. I've hung a light, I've focused a light, I know how to do that. I can help you with that, sure, right? Because to succeed in theater, you need to be the hardest worker in the room, and you need to be the one that's willing to help out with anything. Right? And that's how people see you and discover you. And they only want to work in the theater with people who are wonderful and fun and hard workers, right? So that's how you get more work. I was actually talking to a group of high school students down in Malden, Mass today about, you know, like they were asking, you know, as juniors in high school, what should I be doing to get ready? And I'm like, be the hardest worker in the room. Learn all the things you can. You know, that's how you get noticed. And then people want to work with you again. Then you don't have to look for a job, they come to you, right? And I think that's the key. So with a generalist program, we can provide the kind of training that's really going to give you all the opportunities. The cool thing too about the theater is that in this world today, literally any company, any business, does not matter what field it is looking for people who are hard workers, who are multitaskers, who are creative, who can think out of the box, who can do all the things. The flexibility of a person is what they need, right? And that's theater majors. More and more companies are seeing theater major on resumes and going, oh my God, this is great. We have a theater major. They can totally think their way creatively through this. They can totally help us with that. Every single one of our alumni is working. And not all in the theater, but they're all working, right? And the ones who aren't working in theater are not working in the theater by design. That is your choice, right? We have a chef at the Cordon Bleu. We have people who have won Emmys for producing The Amazing Race. You know, we've got cinematographers out in LA. We've also got, you know, people who turned to teaching. You know, we've got alumni that became lawyers, right? Like, you name it, they've gone to it. Like, tell me that being an actor isn't good prep for being a lawyer. I'm just saying.
Right. Statements, I'm sure.
Brilliant, right? So I think that there's any opportunity, right? I think a lot of times people look at a theater degree and they think, what are you really going to major in, right? What are you going to major in that's going to bring the paycheck? My argument is that theater is going to bring you a paycheck more often than anything else, because you can do it all, right? The way you're trained doesn't just speak to theater, it speaks to any element of work, right? We are about community, we're about company, we're about hard work, we're about process, you know, and these are all things, all ideals that lots of employers are looking for. That's not just the theater. Everybody wants that, right? Everybody wants the employee that can do more than one thing. Right? And that's the kind of training that we turn out, right? So those are the kind of students that we can give to employers. And I mean, our alumni are all over the place. 2 of our alumni are at Malden High School. One of them teaches the high school theater program, and the other one's the tech director there. And they graduated together, you know, guess who helped who get what job, right? Like, and who the recommendation was, right? So like, you know, they're out there doing lots and lots of different things, but they're all working. So I think that in terms of what job you want with a theater degree, I mean, what do you want to do? you know, the world's kind of your oyster when it comes to that kind of thing. And specifically in the world of theater, there are jobs, 90% of our students, when I start going through like jobs in the theater, when we really get into the nitty gritty of it in the classes, they're like, I didn't even know that existed. Like, I had no idea that was a thing, you know, and that's how they find their niche. Well, I didn't know I could do that, right? Like, one of our students, she was a business major, she had a theater minor, and wow, she figured out that she really enjoyed taking over the theater department and our professional company, the Open Door Theater's social media. She marketed for us. She was great at it, right? It was like, that was her niche, right? Like these little things that you just necessarily wouldn't think that this training could help do. So I think the better question is, what do you want to do? We'll just help you do it.
So in addition, you know, to being a generalist program to prepare students for whatever they want to do, what else sets our theater department, our theater program apart from others?
I think, well, there are a few things. One is that we, you know, I'll put it out there right away because it's a thing. We don't do musicals. It's going to be all right. Everybody's going to be okay. We'll be all right. I just have to throw that out there because usually everybody's like, oh, right? Oh my God, what? Right? Like, in that, it's going to be fine. You'll still do musicals. Everything's going to be okay. But we mostly do straight theater, right? We don't have a music program on campus. It would be irresponsible for us as a theater department to try to provide that kind of training for our students when we don't have a musical theater, a music program, right? We don't have conductors. We don't have a pit orchestra. We don't have that. So we can't provide that kind of training. That is not to say that our department doesn't love musicals, because please, so many musicals get played during work calls. That's like all we listen to. It's obnoxious. It's obnoxious, right? That and Disney. I'm like, oh my God, please. And then we debate which musical is the best and we go back and forth. But if there are musical theater people interested in this program, what I always say is that, you know, lots of people can sing and sing incredibly well, but not all musical theater people can act their way through that song. And that is the people that make it, right? The people that are true triple threats, that not only can sing and dance and they've got a high kick and a high G, but that have the emotional depth that they need to deliver those pieces. You know, you don't get to be Evan in Dear Evan Hansen without understanding, really digging into the heart and emotion and feeling of that character. And that takes theater training. And almost always, whether it's movies, whether it's TV, whether it's film, that base of theater training is almost always where everybody starts, right? If you can do it on stage in front of thousands and thousands, then you'll be better on camera, then you'll be better in your musicals, then you'll be better on TV, right? But you've got to be able to share it with the world before you can dial that down into something smaller on a screen or something with music, right? I mean, I love musicals. The idea that your emotion is so strong that you can do nothing else but lift it into song is amazing, right? It's the same reason that Shakespeare uses heightened language. You can't say it with normal words. It's too much, right? You say Hamlet in normal words, it sounds like the most ridiculous story about a procrastinating college student who didn't like his uncle. Like, it's nonsense, right? Like, nobody wants to listen to that. So I think that what we do uniquely in our training is we talk about a lot of Shakespeare. It's not necessarily Shakespeare heavy, but there's a lot of stuff in Shakespeare training that can help you be a good contemporary actor that I think that young actors today, they see a contemporary script and obviously they look at it and they go, I understand this, right? Because it's contemporary and it's in English and I get it, right? And they see a Shakespearean script and they go, oh my God, I can't, no way, don't make me do this, right? But we have tools in our training that make Shakespeare accessible, like truly accessible. Like, I just had a non-major in my play analysis class who looked at me and was like, I can't believe that I understand Hamlet. And I was like, there you go, right? And so we do that really, really well at NEC. We can take, I think that one of the greatest tools about our program is that we are not tied down to a singular training program, right? We're not Meisner or Stella Adler or Uta Hagen specific. We're not to a specific training. We give you a little bit of all of those tools, right? Because when it comes to actor training, you have to figure out what works for you. And if you're only delivered one training, then if that doesn't work for you, you're kind of stuck, right? But if you get a little bit here and a little bit there, then you're like, you know what, I love this. I love parts of this, but this is really speaking to me. And then you can grow further in that, right? The other thing that we provide uniquely, I think, is that we believe deeply in social justice. We believe very deeply in educating our audience. We think that you can do that through theater. We think it's our responsibility to do that through theater. One of our productions a few years back was an original piece that we all created together. I got it started and then students created it with me. It was called Allowables, and it was poetry of witness that focused on marginalized voices in the United States of America. And it was our contribution to the world and educating the world and talking about how we felt as theater artists about the world following the 2016 election. So it was, where do you get to do that? We built a show together from nothing. We built it from nothing, so that was an amazing experience. And when, we have a smaller program, some days that can be tricky, but other days that is a real gift. In a small program, you're getting the kind of individual training attention that is intense. I know my students, I know their work, I know what they are capable of, I know where their potential is, right? And we work together. Glenn and our ATD Ian and Russ Rattray, who actually works in the library, but we rope him to work with us as often as we can. We all work really hard to rise students to that level of expectation. When our students reach the bar, we raise it. When they reach that one, we raise it again, right? So I don't know that you necessarily get that in a more standardized or larger program.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
My next question is less about theater and more about NEC in general. Like, is there anything about NEC that you want to share with like a student who's like, why should I pick NEC? Why should I attend NEC? What can NEC do for me, type of thing?
Because I went here. Come on. I think the thing about NEC, and I would imagine that you hear a lot of professors and staff talk about the place this way, but there is something untangible and really fabulous about the NEC community. I feel like NEC there's no hard time that NEC has that we don't lift each other up through. There is no challenge that we face as a college that we can't get through. And I think that much like characters in plays, I think that people are really defined by what they do when times are hard. And look at us right now. NEC is virtually killing it. We're providing everything we can. Not too long ago, I had to have students, we're doing stage management stuff and they have to take down blocking, and usually we're in a theater and I grab a couple of actors and I say, can you do this scene? And I will block the scene and the stage managers sit in class and they take down the blocking. Well, we were remotely learning. So what did I do? I cleared the furniture out of my living room. I gave my mother and my 11-year-old a script. I said, I need you to take down this blocking. And my students were on Zoom and watched me direct my mother and my 11-year-old so that they could take down blocking. So, I mean, like, it was weird. And I found out that my mother cannot act. That was terrible. That was awful. My 11-year-old has some chops, but oh my God, my mother's never allowed to do that again. So it's not where I got it from. You know, but like, it's that, like, that's NEC. That speaks a lot to the whole community. Like, we will do whatever we got to do for our students. I don't think there's, I mean, I've been hearing stories left and right before we went remote about, you know, professors who will go that extra mile for a student, who, you know, staff members who will provide that student with whatever counsel that they need. You know, it's not just faculty, it's, you know, soup to nuts. We're community. You know, if I can't help you, I know who can, you know, and I will grab them and like walk you to their office. That's the kind of place that NEC is. And I think that you know, it's like an old school neighborhood where all the neighbors know each other, but that's the kind of community that we are.
And in the best type of way, I might add.
Yeah, in the very best type of way. Absolutely. In the very best type of way.
So my closing question is, if a student's interested in theater, they want to learn more about theater, everybody has sort of a little bit more time on their hands, depending on their situation. Not me, but I know what. And not necessarily you either, Yasmin. But so what are some good resources? Like, where would you recommend a student would go? Like, what do they read? What blogs? What articles?
Oh, awesome. Well, all right. Right now, there is tons of stuff out there. National Theater is doing live streams of their shows. There's one tonight. They're doing Frankenstein with Benedict Cumberbatch. Guess who's watching that? So I'm like, please. You know, they did their 12th night last week. There's too much stuff out there. They just did the other day a Sondheim celebration. I don't know if that's fine. I was crying. You know, everybody was crying. It was fine. It was beautiful. You know, can I share my screen? I can do that.
Yeah, you should be able to.
You should be able to, theoretically. Share. This is, you know, specifically to our department. If you want to find more information, this is our website. It's just nectheater.com. That's not very fancy, right? But the nice thing about this is that you get our current season. We didn't get to do, you were to see, that would have been really good. There's a whole section about us, what we believe in. So this is our mission statement, right? Our mission statement is based off the NEC mission statement. But I think we thought it was important to talk about what we specifically believe in. It's got photos from past productions. You have everything about our curriculum is on here. Come on, you can do it. There it is. This is, you know, all of our classes and what year you would take them, which I think is super helpful when you're looking at a program, right? What you need to major, what you need to minor. This is our department handbook. We have a handbook. Get on board. And it speaks to who we are, what we expect from all of you. You know, our standards, our backstage policies, our communication policy, the hounding list, which is the things that we will hound you about, right? Policies about tickets, and I mean, you name it, it's in here. If it's not in here, it needs to be. You know, and everything else that you would need to know about our program. It has a link to the Open Door Theater Company, which is our professional company that operates out of the college in the summer. This summer, after your junior year, you do an internship. Oh, look, it's the Putnam. Oh, I miss it. Oh, that hit me at the core. Okay, I'm fine. Brandy new, beautiful theater. Oh, it's so great. It's so great. It's so great. I don't even know where I was. Now I'm just in love with the building and having a moment about it. You know, this college, after your junior year, you do an internship with the Open Door. It's 7 weeks over the summer. You do nothing but eat, sleep, and breathe theater. Our company of actors does master classes in the morning. You're doing crew calls in the afternoon. You're in rehearsals in the evening. I mean, it is all consuming and it is amazing. That program has been around for, I would say we've been doing it for 6 years, that internship now. And without a doubt, every year that we do it, I'm gonna stop that share. Without a doubt, every year that we do it, the growth in our students coming from that summer in their junior year to their senior year is transformative, hands down. That is intensive and personal attention. And that really helps students grow. So that's been invaluable. So we're excited to be able to offer that. Generally speaking though, American theater is a great resource. There's lots of great articles in American theater. I think they're offering a lot of those. I mean, there's so many places that are offering stuff for free right now, which is really great. If anybody's in the New England area, Stage Source is a really great resource, particularly for that area. Yeah, but I would just look for, you know, oh, there's a really great, what's it called? Muse of Fire, I think it's called, the Muse of Fire interviews. The Globe Theater sits down with famous actors and talks about process. It's like, I could sit and watch that all day, right? But anytime you can watch actors talking about being actors, technicians talking about being technicians, just YouTube that stuff. It's everywhere, and that is where you learn the most. You'll learn more from that than any textbook, is artists talking about process. So you can dig through anything like that. If anybody wants something more specific, they can, you know, email me or reach out. I'm always around. Literally, I'm right here. I'm tethered to this desk.
Until we can go back to campus.
Right.
Well, those were all the questions that I had. I don't know if Yasmin had any questions that she wanted to throw our way. You can either put them in the chat box or just say them verbally or email us later. It's your call.
I know, right? No pressure. Did you have any questions, Yasmin?
I think she froze up for a second.
She might be frozen. It happens to the best of us.
Technology issue.
My students have taken to doing screenshots when I'm frozen and sending me what my face looks like.
Wow.
It's really special.
That's all that is. Yeah, I think she's gonna put it in chat because I heard every other word of what she just said.
That is fine. Yeah, because I could sit and go all day about this program. Nobody needs that in their life.
It's undoubtedly the highlight of everyone's day right now, I'm sure.
Right. I will say I do miss that building though. It's really something. And the kind, you know, the stuff that we're going to be able to do in that building, it changes training.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're rewriting curriculum right now because a building like that changes training. Like we're not using bulb source lights anymore. It's all LED lights.
When we had the tour, and now I forget if it was January or February, and I just saw like how it looked compared to before. I was like, this is a game changer, complete game changer.
Huge game changer. I mean, what are some? Oh, okay. That's a really good question. So minors to pair with a theater major. Not gonna lie, several of our students are actually double majors in psychology and theater, and I applaud that choice because, man, if two things ever went together, right? So a lot of students will do a psych and theater combo. Some of our students will do a theater major and a business minor, especially if they're interested in running a company. And that end of stuff, management kind of things. A lot of students do a theater major and an art minor, or a theater and art double major. Some do theater ed. Other, you know, communications is a really cool one to pair with theater, especially if you're interested in like the video production end of stuff. We had a couple of people who were, they were actually communications majors and theater minors, but they ended up, the play that I spoke about earlier that we created, one of those students made a documentary about it. He did interviews and he filmed our process, and he ended up putting together a clip of a video. It was like a 2-minute sort of, you know, view of that process. And I took that to a national conference, a student-made film that was presented at a national conference. So that was pretty cool. So there's quite a few that work super well with theater, but I say when it comes to a minor, do the other thing you love. You know, if theater is love number one, do the other, you know, you'll never go wrong doing the thing that you love. You will always go wrong doing the thing you think you should do because you have to.
That is the best advice, truly.
Life advice.
Solid life advice.
Yeah. Anything else? We're good.
I think we're good.
All right.
Well, I'll give my typical spiel of how you can reach admissions, and also, do you mind if I give out your email address?
Not at all. It's literally sitting on the screen right now.
Okay. We have general admissions questions. The best way to get a hold of us is admission with no S at nec.edu. And if you want to reach Alex and ask her questions, her email is spicard, SPICARD at nec.edu. A big thank you to you again and again for all of your support with the admissions office, and also just having this chat with us today. Truly, it was the highlight of my day. So much appreciated. And thank you, Jasmine, for joining us today.
Yeah, thank you.
Looking forward to hopefully seeing you on campus soon. I know you recently submitted your deposit, so I'll see you in the fall.
And yeah, Yasmin, between now and the fall, if you have any questions, do not hesitate to email me. I'll get right back to you. I check my email obsessively.
Kind of on devices.
Problem.
All right. Well, thank you, everyone. You all have a great day. Take care, everyone.
You too, Ashley. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye, Yasmin. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.